I feel like I've learned nothing about Zoey. Like I really auto-piloted and just knowledge checked people. We can talk about Zoey and just like generally why I don't think she's like that good, right? He drops today. I thought it said August 5th in Japan. In Japan, maintenance is in 30 minutes. It ends even if you want to like if you want to say like playing him offline doesn't count. Maintenance ends at midnight. So in 3.5 hours you can play Villainous and Ranked. But in like 45 minutes you're able to play him in training mode, right? But yeah, like outside of knowledge check shit, yeah, whatever, right? The big thing with Zoey to me, if we talk about good things on her, right? I mean, I would count this 66H. It's very committal, but it's just, you know, you don't have to use it if you don't want to use it. It's just a nice option to call out people who are being really belligerent, right? It can be a nice option for her. Obviously, a lot of the dragon stuff, like, it is good. Ignore the fact that it can run out for a second, right? Well, like, you know, this guy is pretty nice. It is slightly minus up close like this, right? But, you know, decent little fireball guy, like pretty basic fireball. That you can kind of spam over and over, and it's plus from a lot of ranges where a lot of light fireballs are not, right? It's kind of a light fireball. Again, you know, like this is decent pressure. People can try to spot dodge this on reaction, certainly, right? But it, you know, this is it puts a lot of mental stack on people to have the dragon up, and it leads like, you know, you can use the dragon stuff for a lot of nice combos and all of that. The dragon stuff isn't bad. Right? I like the dragon stuff by and large. I think like this like there's a reason that this is limited. Now I will say I don't know that this is like so good that like I feel like other characters have shit that feels maybe even as good as this, if not better, and it doesn't come attached with a gauge, right? But like her dragon stuff is very good, right? I'm not gonna say that like even this is bad or anything like that, right? The problem obviously is that it does have that gauge tied to it, right? L Dragon on a character with more threat behind it would be very annoying. Yeah. It's not about trying this, react to her hand raising up, the timing is very similar. I mean, yeah, sure, but it's still like a reaction check, right? It's still like mental stack for her on offense, right? Because like you can't just like spot dodge whenever, that can have consequences. So like this is still something, right? And it does do like it does do a decent amount of chip. You can use it in combo extensions, right? It does like hurt pretty bad if you get hit by this. And again, I actually don't know how late can you spot dodge this and still be like plus. Like, if I try to spot dodge as late as let me have her spot dodge immediately. There you go. Yeah, like if you spot dodge late, right, you're not getting as much off of it, right? Yeah, if you spot dodge as late as you can, Zoey's plus actually. So I'm not saying it's like amazing, unbeatable, or anything like that, but like the dragon stuff is good, right? There's a fuzzy dodge timing that dodges all three, but yeah, that's tough. That you know, that's a little rough for sure. That's a little rough. But the dragon stuff it's not like it's ass or anything like that. Again, I will say, it doesn't feel, like, amazing, right? Like, it doesn't feel like I'm like, I really understand why she can only do this, like, twice before she's in really big danger kind of thing. Like, this is, outside of, like, obviously, you know, Brave countering isn't going to kill the dragon or anything like that. Zoey does draw a very unfortunate comparison to Nier. Which, again, like, anytime you're ever going to compare to Nier, that's not good, right, in these days. But, like, besides the fact that obviously you can't, like, Brave counter the dragon and kill Zoey or something like that, the dragon stuff is, like, more limited than the death stuff, man. Like, Zoey can do fewer of the good dragon moves. You can do a lot of L Dragon, right? But L Dragon is not, like, L Dragon's not that big of a deal. You can do, like, fewer of, like, M and H Dragon than you can of, like, death specials with Nier before you're in danger. And if you run out of dragon gauge, you straight up, it's locked out for 12 seconds, right? So like, the dragon stuff is good, but it feels highly limited. It doesn't feel that good. You know what I mean? So I guess I want to put the dragon stuff as like a good thing and a bad thing. It's like if there was no limit on this whatsoever, this would be very nice, right? But it feels a little too limited, having like, you have to worry about, now she does have ways to recharge it. Is it actually 12 seconds for real? That's what I've been told by Tubby, and I believe Tubby. Tubby is our resident Zoey expert here, right? You can, like, there are a lot of different opportunities that you can have to recharge the dragon gauge, namely, but it's like ending combos in this U skill, right? So you can convert meter into dragon gauge, which is like a privilege that obviously, like, Nier doesn't have and stuff like that, right? Nevio, thank you for the prompt. Like, this is a privilege that Nier doesn't have, but again, like, I'm not trying to say that Zoey's as bad as Nier, right? Like, but I'm just saying, like, any comparison that you draw to Nier is always gonna be like, it's rough that I even think of Nier in the same room as Zoey in terms of how the resource management works, right? Nier can do that? How does Nier convert meter into death? What do you mean Nier can do that? Nier, I mean, are you talking about install? I guess. Are you talking about Nier like recharging with 5U? That's fair. Yes, yes. Right, Nier can recharge her gauge. Yeah, but imagine like if you, you know, this does also still lock her out. Like this also does unsummon. This does also unsummon death, right? It makes that unsummon time shorter, but also make Hailstorm again. Thank you for the breath. So, but my point is, right, the Dragon Gauge stuff it feels more limited than I would like it to be personally, right? It either needs to be better or this stuff needs to cost less gauge, right? It's good. It's not like that. Like it's not so good that like it should cost that much, I think, right? That's not even the main problem. That's not even the real thing. One of the other big sort of issues that I have with Zoey that I mentioned immediately and that I mentioned a couple of times and that I'm still mentioning right now is that what's a fair comparison here? Because like a lot of characters that do this are just pretty damn good, right? I guess like Jita is like Jita is like only a little bit better at this than Zoey is, right? Jita's only a little bit better at this than Zoey is. But one of the big things that I know that I didn't really let me switch these around. Let me get Zoey here and Jita here. One of the big things that I don't really like about Zoey, just from like a design standpoint, I guess, in terms of what she's up to, what she's doing, right? Is that a big thing, right? Zoey, Jita, they both have like you'll notice like on 2M there, on far H, her far M doesn't have this actually, which Zoey's does, right? But on far L, stuff like that, these characters have like buttons with a lot of active frames on them, right? And in general, I could have pulled out like Catalina, Percival, stuff like that, but it's a bit of an unfair comparison. I think those characters just gap Zoey power level wise a little bit too hard. And you know, same thing, right? 5 frames here, 4 there, 3 there, but you know, 5 there, right? To me, this usually screams, and on top of it, with Zoey being able to like, you know, she's got a pretty decent like fireball and the dragon and stuff like that. This screams to me that Zoey wants to play, you know, this kind of like pokey, you know, keep you out kind of defensive playstyle. And there's two problems. There's two problems that I see with Zoey here. One, her buttons are, you know, I mean, this 2M is pretty great, right? I'm a big fan of him. But like, besides this 2M, her buttons are only kind of like okay, right? And she really just doesn't get very much reward at all a lot of the time off hitting these, right? Like, yes, I mean, I could see, like, this is a lot of corner carry, right? It leaves Zoey kind of far, but you can get in there, right? But Jita has kind of a similar problem too, you know? Where like, you land these buttons, right? Jita, at the very least, you know, that she does get a lot more corner carry off of it than Zoey does. But Jita is like the closest example I could think of someone else who kind of shares this weakness, right? Jita is going to get you like significantly further to the corner off any stray hits, and Jita also has like, you know, the benefit that Zoey doesn't, where like if you're close enough to the corner, she can do stuff like this, right? I could have been even further away there, right? She can spend the meter to at least then get like a full corner combo if you're, you know, like halfway into the screen or something like that, right? This is another thing that, I mean, Zoey basically her equivalent will be something like this, right? Which, like, I mean, certainly, right? It exists. But you have to be a little bit, it's just a little bit worse across the board than Jita, who, again, I would argue, this is one of the bigger problems with Jita, is that she doesn't get that much reward off of her stray hits like this compared to some of the other, like, better defensive characters, right? And Jita, to me, seems to compare favorably to Zoey here, right? She has an even bigger problem than Jita in this context. So I don't know. Her getting as little reward mid-screen as she does, right? Feels a little bit rough, certainly. It feels like you can't really play that kind of defensive pokey, counter pokey playstyle as much, right? Which means that you have to, you know, you end up having to be like a little bit more aggressive sometimes, it feels like, to actually try and shift the risk reward in your favor. Like, get up there, get up close, like, get auto combos, try to push people towards the corner. And I mean, I will say, her 6XL, this might be, I can't quite tell, this might be the best 6XL in the game. That's another good thing about her, certainly. This feels like it just goes fucking forever for her? Is that? It's like the same 6XL that Belial has, it looks like, right? If anything, Belial seems to extend his hurt box a little bit more, right? So her 6XL is amazing. That is one other thing that is very, very nice about Zoey. So like, she can just, you know, she does play the 6XL like mid-range game well in that sense, right? Oh, I guess another problem with Zoey, with this mid-range stuff that I want to point out, and we'll get Jita back in here to sort of compare to, right? But again, if you want to play this sort of like mid-range pokey, I might be smoking something. Yeah, okay. I mean, her backwalk is maybe... Yeah, her walk speed feels pretty not great, right? Which, again, like, these are sort of... let me pull up Zoey's Dust Loop. These are kind of, like, important... Yeah, backwalk is pretty not great. And walk speed 100%, but again, like if you look at Jita, it's not actually 100, right? Yeah, right, 116, 108. So she's kind of slow on the grounds, too, right? Her dash isn't bad, yeah, but again, like, for these kinds of defensive mid-range characters, you know, good buttons, good conversions off them, and good walk speed, not dash speed, right? Walking. You're walking to position yourself in these ranges, right? So this, like, having bad walk speed also kind of hurts, right? Also kind of hurts. Now, again, this helps a lot. Like, there's a lot of gaps that this just kind of, like, plugs, right? For sure. But it makes it so that it feels kind of, like, weird and not as rewarding to play this kind of mid-range playstyle with her. So you have to kind of run people down a little bit, or try to run people down outside of, like, certain matchups. Obviously, you're gonna try and keep out, you know, a character like Sora's Ladiva, something like that, right? But then the problem then becomes that, again, Zoey's pressure is really only as good as her Dragon Gauge is high, right? It's a lot of stuff, like, even if you spot dodge like this H laser, you know, you can either get caught, or even if you do spot dodge it, Zoey is oftentimes going to be plus, right? It's very active, you have to spot dodge, you know, like it's... Her pressure is solid only insofar as she has Dragon Gauge. Which kind of leads to my next issue a little bit with Zoey, is that Zoey is a character that feels like she's pretty easy to kind of down back against. And yes, I know she doesn't need, like, 50-50 mix. You can always just run up and throw, right? Everyone does have this option. Right, and Zoey can, like, catch your delay tech and kill you, like, just like any other character, certainly, right? But, you know, where I might not hold that against some other characters as much, Zoey is kind of on a timer, right? Like, every time Zoey decides to do something and you down back it, she is, like, slowly running out of time, where she's, like, a good character. Because once this Dragon Gauge is low, you never want to run out of the Dragon Gauge, because if you do, I can show you right now, right? Buddy goes away. 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, 8 1000, 9 1000, 10 1000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000. There you go. This is about 12 seconds, right? So he goes away for a long time. So you never want to run out of Dragon Gauge. So, like, once Zoey gets, like, here, she kind of has to change tack, right? If she hasn't found the hit yet, now true, if she finds the hits, right, she's gonna dust loop, she's gonna end in this guy, she's gonna get a lot of gauge back, right? Like, this earns her a lot of gauge, certainly. But, like, if she hasn't found the hits, and she's, like, here on her gauge, like, you know, like, here-ish, it's kind of like, okay, well, she kind of stops being particularly threatening, right? She has a throw bait, at least in this, but it's not a very good one, either, right? A lot of her pressure becomes a lot less, like, a lot more toothless. Charging does nothing to the time. Nope. It'll make it so you have more Dragon Gauge when he comes back, I think. But and again, this, you know, this kind of stuff, all minus, any follow-ups are all very punishable, either -11 or -8, right? And the H version is even, like, this thing's punishable even straight up, right? She can do, like, funny lightning stuff, sure, which can help her find the hits, but, you know, most characters do not have, you know, crazy, insane 50-50 mix, you have to do something right now. I get that. But most characters also aren't on a timer with their offense. Right. This is kind of one of the weaknesses that I would, again, to compare it to. Zoey compares to a lot of characters in this game unfavorably most of the time, right? But this is kind of a similar weakness to Mrs. Beathan here. This is one of the things, you know, that Miss 2B can struggle with too, is that, you know, she has to, like, a lot of her, like, better pressure options come from spending her skill gauge, right? And then once her skill gauge is out, she still, now the difference in 2B is she still has just the ability to, like, stall time 5Hing you from outside the range of all of your goddamn normals, right? To, like, stall time for skill to come back. But it is still the case that, you know, 2B's pressure certainly gets a lot less scary once her skill gauge is out. I will say the buff they're giving her, where you can't spot dodge this and punish it anymore, makes it so she can waste time way better when she's out of skill gauge too, right? But again, it's kind of a similar issue that 2B might have, that Zoey also has. Plus 2B being significantly faster? Yeah, sure. But yeah, so, it's a similar issue, but again, it feels a little bit worse for Zoey than it feels for 2B, right? It feels like waiting Zoey out is a little bit more effective than waiting 2B out.
Get
right?
grabbed, comma, nerds.
So, I mean, yeah. So it leads to... Zoey's not awful at any of the stuff that I'm describing, right? Also, Tanabe Kyo, I think? Thank you for the follow. Zoey's not like awful any of the stuff that I'm describing, but it's just kind of like, you know, she wants to play this defensive game, but she's not. She's kind of like meh at it because she doesn't get very good rewards, and her buttons aren't like amazing. They're only like, besides this one's pretty amazing. But like her buttons are only like okay. You know, this far L is pretty uninspiring. This far M is kind of okay. Far H is fast. I like that, right? It's fast and it recovers quick, right? But the range on it is it leaves a little bit to be desired. So like her buttons are only okay, and her reward is pretty garbage. And you know, she has amazing 6XL, so you know that's great. She can close in and run pressure. But again, her pressure, it's kind of meh, right? Because it's only as good as the dragon pressure, and while the dragon pressure it's good. It's not amazing, right? It's not amazing, but it's good. The problem is she very quickly, if she tries to use the dragon for pressure, finds herself on kind of a timer where, you know, you just kind of down back on Zoey, and if you don't, if you do that, she either has to be very stingy with her good pressure options, which means her pressure isn't that great, or if she wants to use her good pressure options to RPS you, she's basically against the clock, hoping you fuck up or that she catches you with something, so that she finds one of these hits to then be able to like recharge her good pressure, right? And she needs them for the combos too. So like if she, you know, if she gets her dragon gauge down to like here and then finds a hit on you, right? Like it's gonna be a little bit awkward even trying to do, you know, like your regular dust loop shit, because it kills the dragon, right? Like I can do this and it'll charge, but now I'm still gone. I'm dragon gone for the next 12 seconds. So her pressure is not bad. It's just kind of like, you know, it's like. It feels a little bit more comfortable getting pressured by her than a lot of other characters because, you know, she can run out of her ability to be a person, right? Her like defensive kind of pokey style play isn't bad, but, you know, it's kind of like her walk speed's a little bad, her buttons are not amazing, and her reward off of it isn't great, you know? Stuff like a lot of stuff about her just feels like she doesn't really excel at anything. What time Villainous drops? Maintenance is in 15 minutes, and then Villainous will probably be. I should update stream titles. Yeah, maintenance is in 15, and then we can probably play Villainous like 10, 15 after that, right? She feels like Launch, Percival, Powercreep are made for a different game. Maybe. Right? I don't know. A lot of Zoey just feels kind of meh. Besides her 6XL, which is like, it's so funny because her 6XL is amazing. It's not good. It's not great. It might literally be top 1, right? But 6XL can only get you so far. You know, despite what you might think. Grand Blue, yes, it's very nice to have a very good 6XL. But like, you know, that 6XL has to convert into pressure or, you know, mid-screen or say like if you get, and like everything that 6XL gets her feels a little bit wasted on her, right? Is she closer to Nier or Vicky or you all in Charlotta? Oh no, definitely. Like she's, yeah, no, she's not. Like again, Zoey's not awful. It's just she feels underpowered basically everywhere. She still does have Nier and Vicky IMO. No, I disagree. She still does have like, she still does get to do the, you know, the Shoto thing, kind of, right? Like, she at least, like, has tools in a lot of different situations. It's just the tools are kind of, like, meh, right? It feels much more like... She feels like, to me, this feels like Anila, except, like, worse mid-screen and like, a worse 6XH, right? Like, Anila has a similar problem, where Anila has, you know, a lot of tools. You know, she's versatile. But, like, a lot of her stuff is kind of meh. Right, a lot of her stuff is kind of meh. Except Anila has like, you know, pretty nice mid-screen with meter. Right, she has pretty nice mid-screen conversions with meter, and her 6XH is like one of the best moves in the entire game. Zoey is like that, except she doesn't have those two exceptional things, in my opinion. Right, she also has no meterless DP. That's true. Anila has a meterless DP. Not an amazing one, but she does have one. Right, that's still true. Nier at least kills you. No, she's Nier is way worse than Zoey. Nier is way worse than every character that isn't Vakala, to be fair. So like that's, you know. Zoey's not great, but like, yeah, let's not get too crazy, right? I think Zoey is certainly, I mean, at this point especially, they're buffing a lot of characters that were not that great. Zoey does find herself like very quickly just getting left behind, right? I don't know about that. I don't see them as very far apart. Okay, I mean, I don't want to listen. Again, there was a very important thing I left behind when I was comparing Nier and Zoey. I mean, one thing, Zoey has 16,000 health, Nier has 15,000, right? Nier has 50, already, that's a big deal. Second, right, yes, we can talk about how they both have resource management problems and stuff like that, right? But like, Zoey without Dragon is not very good, Deathless Nier is literally like bottom -10, right? Like Deathless Nier is 3 tiers below every other character by herself, right? And while yes, it can be very rough for Zoey because she has to manage her own meter, right? She has to manage her meter. The difference is whether or not Nier goes deathless is actually often in the opponent's hands, right? I can't, you know, I can't do anything. I can't force Zoey to be I can't force Zoey to not be Dragon. What does Zoey win con? Zoey is a defensive bait and punish character that gets pretty decent damage in the corner, right? Like Zoey gets pretty decent damage in the corner. And she like a lot of her weaknesses kind of like it's I fucked up the dust loop combo, but it's like 6k or something like that, right? Zoey is like a defensive poke and punish character. She's gonna bait something out. She gets a decent bit of corner carry. When she puts you in here, she starts doing pretty good damage, and her pressure gets a lot scarier, right? Zoey is one of like the same kind of character. She's the same kind of character, much worse, but she is the same kind of character as like Catalina, the same kind of character as like Percy, the same kind of character as Jita, stuff like that, right? So. The difference, right? Nier, yes, Nier does significantly more mid-screen damage than Zoey does, of course, but also, you can just, at any point, your opponent can choose to make Nier ass, right? Like, imagine if I could Brave counter Zoey and take all her Dragon Gauge away, right? It's night and day, right? Let's be real. Zoey's not great, but again, right? Nah. I don't think this is very close at all. Gun to my head, I pick either. It's not like a tier gap. It is a tier gap. It might be a couple of tier gap. I don't know. Nier and Vikala are in their own tier to me in this video game right now. Like yeah. Zoey's not great, but let's not go crazy, right? Let's not go crazy. Oh yeah. Also, yeah. When you really start talking about Nier seriously, I forgot about that. One other advantage that Zoey has over Nier is that if Dragon is out, Zoey can still Raging Strike. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, right? One other advantage Zoey has over Nier is, you know, Dragon can be out and Zoey can still do this. I don't know, man. Nier, it's an unfair, like, talking about anyone in the same breath as Nier, except for, like, Vikala, it starts to get really funny. You know what I mean? If anything would push it for me, it's health and no RS. I mean, if you're, okay. If we want to say, right, just for the sake of argument, we want to say that every other good and bad thing about Zoey and Nier evens out perfectly. And Nier has 1,000 less health and can't Raging Strike when her win condition is out. Yeah, that's like already a tier difference, right? As it turns out. That's kind of huge. I value damage off whiff punishments very highly. Sure. I get that, right? I get that. But again, if you want to say that, like, the difference, like, you know, they about even out. You know, the things that Zoey is better at, the things Nier is better at, whatever, they about even out except for 1,000 HP and Nier can't RS like 90% of the game. That's already, like, a huge difference, right? That's a very, very big deal. But yeah, man, Zoey, I mean, how could you, like, what could you do to help this character? I don't know. I feel like this is a little bit samey for a lot of these characters. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to, like, Catalina her ass or something like that, right? But she really just needs, like, at least, like, with meter, she needs to do something. Like, maybe this shit could, like, leave people in front of her instead of knocking them back quite as far, right? Like, if she just got, like, an auto combo off this, like, give her, like, Charlotta's, like, you know, the equivalent of, like, Charlotta's fucking Demon Flip extender, right? Like, give her, like, this, you know? Where she can auto combo after this. Only medium, maybe, but, like, I feel like this would help a lot, right? Like, this would help, because, like, it just feels like she just doesn't, her reward on her game plan just feels bad to me, right? They gave it to Anila, yeah, and I think it's, I mean, I personally think that Anila is, you know, quite a bit better than Zoey, despite people, for some reason, thinking that Anila is, like, this unplayable garbage character. I don't fully get it. So, like, maybe, if you don't want to do that, I think you could just, like, this Dragon Gauge shit, I mean, would it be crazy to have her start on, would it be crazy to just have her start with full meter or something, either? You know? Like, she could start, like, why is this half empty at round start? Would it be crazy to have her start with, like, full Dragon Gauge? Would she be like, oh my god, so broken insane, if she just started with full Dragon Gauge? Right? I feel like we just have her start at full Dragon Gauge, too. Right? That could be helpful. I don't think Anila is garbage bottom 1. That's fair. Some people think she's bottom 1 or 2, certainly. And I don't see quite where that sentiment comes from. Again, I think it's Catalina and Percival, and to an extent Belial, is a little bit of a different flavor. But I think they've done irreparable damage to the community's ability to assess any sort of, like, all-rounder defensive Shoto-style character. But yeah, I feel like just maybe, like, if we're gonna start with one very simple thing, why not just let her start the game at full Dragon Gauge, right? I don't know. That'd probably be fun. Make Lightning Mix scarier, or hell, making all of her specials negative edge could be cool. I'm not trying to, like, yeah, we can do a lot of things, but, like, for just, like, you know, little buffs, you know? That's at least, that feels like at least should start at full Dragon Gauge, maybe, you know? That wouldn't, like, oh, she's saved, right? Oh my god, Zoey is amazing now. Like, it just feels, it does kind of feel weird that this starts at half, right? If you want to do that and give her a U skill that combos mid-screen, right? I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Like, at that point, she might honestly be fine. But I don't know. Though, like, I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, can we give her a TOD on every single hit? Like, I don't have to, you know. Lightning Mix feels so not worth. It could be kind of a niche thing. That's fine, right? You can buff a lot more about her, certainly, but like giving her a U skill that actually lets her combo mid-screen and then also letting her start at full Dragon Gauge, I think that will be a lot already. Like that she'd be a lot better from that. Counter hit M Flame should let her convert for damage. You know about this? Or what do you mean M Flame?
Grabbed, comma, nerd.
You mean regular hits? You would think negative edge set play tool will be a more defining aspect of Zoey? I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough to know if there's like some wild setup, but I don't think I've seen Tubby hit me with one, so I think it probably doesn't really exist. FGC Trey, by the way, thanks for the follow. I'm just a casual Zoey enjoyer. I wish Lightning cracked. Oh, wait. This thing. This is our mid-screen extender. Yeah, she should get this off standing auto combo. Yeah. I forgot about this thing. Yeah, what the fuck? Why does this not work, man? If I give this a little bit more of a crumple, you know, so you can convert a little bit more consistently, you know? This would be so much carry, you know? This would be nice. If I could just get this shit off standing auto combo, right? This will combo and also give it a bit more crumple so I can get this 6XL or something a little bit more consistently. That'd be great. Yeah, that's what we should do. A little bit more crumple time and it works, and speed the startup up so it starts off. Didn't they change this move and make it worse? But yeah, they kind of like changed what it did, but if you want to keep it this way, at least make it an easier, at least make it a mid-screen converter, you know what I'm saying? At least let me get this shit off, you know, maybe like far M or something. Maybe not far L, but that'd be nice. Yeah, make this a move that like has a reason to exist, and then also maybe make her start at full Dragon Gauge and we can talk, right? As of right now, yeah, Zoey is definitely, I mean, you can talk about bottom 5, bottom 10, who knows? She's not good, right? The character is not very good. And she feels bad in a lot of ways that are kind of annoying too, right? Like having to manage this resource and shit like that, like as much as you do, and like for not even necessarily that much reward and all of that. She needs a little bit of love. She needs a little bit of love for sure. But it's just about villain this time. So I will, at best, bottom 7, at worst, bottom 5, something like that. The exact number, right? If she bottom 5 or 4 or 6 or 7 or 8, you're splitting hairs. Zoey is not very good, though. Zoey does feel like she's on quite so much the lower end of the cast, I think, right? But yeah, anyway, it's nearly villainous time.